Welcome to Melaleuca's Executive Director Series, a series of audio presentations spotlighting Melaleuca's newest Executive Director leaders. Our spotlight this month is Executive Director Kara Horat. Kara enrolled in December 2009 with National Director 9 Heidi Bartolotta. She advanced her business to Senior Director in April 2011 and Executive Director in January 2016.
Hi, this is Kara Horat. I am an Executive Director from Carlsbad, California, which is north coastal San Diego. And I was enrolled in December of 2009 by my good friend Heidi Bartolotta. My first check with Melaleuca was $9.62, and my highest check to date was over $17,000. So I'm just going to start at the beginning and tell you sort of my journey. I was born and raised on the East Coast, in New Jersey specifically. My career actually began in industrial plastics, which is nothing really glamorous. Actually, it's just kind of one of those things that make the world go round, but it's sort of high-tech related. So plastics for things like clean rooms and circuit board manufacturers. And it was fun, and it was what brought me actually to the West Coast. So I transferred to the West Coast, which is where, of course, all things high-tech live. And I met my husband in the Bay Area. We actually were working for the same company. And about 2 years later, the company we were working for wanted to open a facility in San Diego. And since my husband was in operations and I was a field rep, we put our hands in the pot, like, yeah, we'll go to San Diego. So we were relocated to San Diego almost 20 years ago. But before we moved to San Diego, we came down to check it out. I had never been past LA, so wanted to kind of get a lay of the land and figure out where we wanted to live. And, I had been in high tech at that point for about 10 years, so I was already thinking about what was next for me. And then when we came to San Diego, and we didn't know if we wanted to buy a place or rent for a while, so we went into a bunch of open houses. And what I recognized is that the real estate people were pretty laid back. And of course, being from the East Coast and having an East Coast work ethic, I thought, I think I could do really well at real estate. I wonder if we should think about this. And so that was a conversation that my husband and I had that actually changed, our entire life, because we started to talk about what would our lives look like if we had our own business and if we came out of the corporate world and we had a better quality of life and more time freedom and all the stuff that goes along with that. So we moved to San Diego with the company. Obviously, we fulfilled our commitment with the company, but immediately we got to work on getting our real estate licenses. And so I went into real estate first. That was smart since we had a corporate income and real estate is 100% commission. So I went in first, and my husband joined me shortly thereafter. So that was in the late 90s when we started our real estate business. I worked hard. I think I would probably work hard at anything I would do. That's just sort of the East Coaster in me. Real estate's not easy. There's no leads. There's not a lot of help. There's certainly not a team. I would say my husband and I were a pretty good team. And so we built that business from the ground up, and we were doing really well. We were making a significant six figures. So if we fast forward a little bit, in 2003, we had our daughter. So prior to this, I have a stepdaughter who is my husband's daughter, but she's grown. So we didn't have little kids. So we could work a lot. And so, that's what we did. We worked. And then in 2003, when we had our daughter Holly, it was great because we were able to have flexibility. We didn't have any family in San Diego, and I didn't want to put my daughter in childcare. So my daughter's never been in daycare, childcare, not even after school care. We just sort of tag teamed. And we still tag team to this day, so it works really well. We were doing pretty good at that point in our life, financially and personally. We had made some good investments. We bought and sold several of our own homes. And we actually had just moved into our $1 million home in 2006. And so shortly after that is when we started to feel the economy changing. And of course, as everybody knows, by 2008, we were in a full-blown recession. So we weren't going to give up. We had been in real estate for about a decade at that point, and we tried to have a really, really positive outlook on what was happening, because the truth is this, even if one of us wanted to go back into corporate, no one was hiring. And nobody's going to hire someone who's been out of corporate for 10 years anyway. So we just decided, okay, life is handing us some lemons. Let's try and make lemonade out of this. And so we thought, okay, well, there's a lot of professionals in our industry that have been around for a while. A lot of them have been through recessions. So let's just say that we're going to be one of those couples that's been in real estate and has seen it all and got through a recession. So that was kind of our thought process. So we did what we always did. We worked harder. We were trying to keep our business afloat at that point, trying to keep our life afloat. We did end up selling off some of our assets. We ended up downsizing our home. But, we did what we had to do. That's kind of what you do, right? So in 2009, I got a phone call from my friend Heidi, and Heidi and I had met several years before. We met at a women's retreat, and a friend of mine and I kind of took her under our wing, and she roomed with us. And so when I first met Heidi, it was like through a long weekend of rooming together, so we got to know each other pretty well. And our daughters actually shared the exact same birthday, only a year apart. So we had kind of a bond, and we stayed friends from that point. But she and her husband had moved out of the area, and then she had moved back, and she contacted me. And she told me that she was wanting to start a business and asked me if I had ever heard of a company called Melaleuca. Well, I actually had heard of Melaleuca, and so I told her this story, and I think it probably shook her a little bit. But a friend of mine, only maybe 3 weeks before, maybe a month before, had called me. Now, this is a friend who has 4 kids, and her husband's in the military. She's a stay-at-home mom. And she called me in a frantic panic that her checking account had been overdrawn, and her husband was going to have a cow. And I asked her what happened, and she said, well, I got some cleaning products from this other friend of ours, and then this company sent me stuff the following month, and I didn't ask for them to send me stuff, and I didn't know they were, and they charged my account, and now my account is overdrawn. So that was my first introduction to Melaleuca. So you can imagine my surprise when Heidi said she was starting a business with this company. So I tell Heidi the story. Now, I was Heidi's second phone call, so imagine that, right? Kind of funny. I'm sure she didn't know what to say. I know she didn't know what to say because she stumbled a little bit, and she was like, well, I think it's a good company. I'm going to do a little bit of research on that. And we kind of circled back in the next couple of days. And what she said to me was, well, I really think, she was misinformed. And I said, well, that's great. I hope it goes well for you. I really wasn't interested in Melaleuca. I don't know that it had anything to do with Melaleuca. I mean, it seemed like, I don't know.